Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what to do when your players take your campaign in a completely different direction than what you have planned. This can happen to pretty much any game master in any game system, but I find it particularly troublesome in my Traveler campaign when the players go completely a different direction than I thought. Now, to be sure, every game I've ever run, the players have done things I didn't expect, or they've taken a different direction. Those happen, and as a game master, DM, whatever you are, you have to be prepared for those. However, sometimes the players go a completely different direction than what you had anticipated, so all the research and development that you'd done kind of goes out the window, or if it's a Traveler, out the lock. In my case, I've recently had that happen in my Traveler campaign. I'm going to talk about that a little bit and how I'm dealing with it, and how I'm planning on dealing with it in ways I don't think you should deal with it. So there's going to be a couple of things we unpack in this one today. So today on page 121, what to do when your players take the game in a completely different direction. So what to do when the players take your campaign in a different direction. I'm going to go over a few things that are happening in my current Traveler campaign and some ways I'm going to be dealing with it. I don't have any real visuals for this one today, so you're going to have to put up with looking at me. Sorry. Basically, the campaign I'm running right now is set in District 268 in the Spinward Marches. And it began in Matmos, which is about as far south, if you will, in District 268 as you can possibly get. They've moved up to Collis, which is a more populated area in the campaign, aboard the scout ship that one of the players got as a mustering out benefit. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to be running around the scout ship. They're going to be taking small cargo here and there, but they don't have payments to make on this ship. Maintenance is kind of nominal, so they'll make a little bit of money, and then eventually the campaign will grow, and they'll do a little more. Okay, so one of the games I did is the ship is in for some ordinary maintenance at Collis. The players kind of say, we're going to be down for about a week and a half for some of the work that's being done. So they look for maybe a small pickup job. So I decide, okay, it'll be a patron who owns a far trader, and he has figured out that the captain and crew of his far trader are skimming from him. So he's decided he's going to fire them, and he hires the players as kind of muscle to come with him and just back him up in case things get rough. Well, Collis is kind of a lawless area where basically the law rests in your gun and your ability to defend yourself. So the players go with, and sure enough, the crew of four, I had 4 players in this game, the crew of 4 decide, hey, you're not firing us. No way. A fight breaks out, ends up with one of the bad guys getting seriously injured and then killed. And one of the players took some injury and things like that. So, okay, ordinary enough Travelers so far. So then one of my players says, hey, what if we crew this ship for you? I'm thinking, oh, okay, that could be kind of cool. I hadn't really thought of that as a consequence. I guess I should have. But for whatever reason, I didn't really think of it. I thought this would be a nice little side job for them. They'd pick up some money while their ship was down. They'd get back in their scout ship, and off they'd go. So they say, okay, what if we crew your ship, and we take the cargo, and then you pay us? And the guy says, okay, as long as I get my percentage, which is 10% of whatever they make, he gets, gross, not net. As long as they agree to that, then everything's fine, and then this guy becomes a patron for them, and he owns the ship, and they crew it. So I thought, okay, well, now we're going to get into a little bit more of a free market kind of campaign, a little trading, things like that. Okay, I can still deal with this. That's no problem. I'm pretty sure they want to be pirates. I had given the far trader a couple of pop-up turrets with some a couple. One has pulse lasers. I think it was pulse lasers, and the other has a missile rack. So I'm thinking, okay, it's nominal kind of thing, and it's really to defend themselves, and I can do a little space action and stuff if they're aboard this thing. So I'm pretty excited that they're just going to crew this thing for a while. I'm pretty sure they want to be pirates. They're in a pretty lawless area of the Spinward Marches. There's no real imperial influence. They gleaned to that fact very quickly. These guys have already shown themselves to be quite willing to go beyond the law at need. So I'm finding myself now, for the first time ever, with a game I thought was going to be just kind of an exploration kind of game, turning into what I thought was going to be a merchant kind of game, where they're turning into pirates. Now, I've run pirate games before, but those are games that started out with them as pirates. I had not expected the players to just turn pirate. So what to do? Well, as the game master, a lot of what I'd written and a lot of what I was working on as far as cargoes and stuff really isn't valid anymore. If they're going to be pirates, then I've got to do a complete rethink of my campaign. So I thought of two ways that I could deal with. One would be to just say, no, come on, guys, we don't want to do this. Stay with your scout ship and just stay with the campaign I had envisioned. And I know my players, they would have gone along and said, okay. But I also know my players, and they wouldn't have been happy. They would have wanted to do what they wanted to do. This particular group, for whatever reason, and these are my normal players, both my sons, my friend Craig and my friend Roy, they play D&D with us all the time. They play good aligned characters all the time. Once in a while, they just go south and want to be criminals in something. And I did not anticipate it in my Traveler game, but here we are. So now I could choose that one way where I say, no, you go with what I've written, and you're going to stay with everything I've written, or I go their way. Well, I'm going their way. They were pretty excited about the possibility of becoming pirates. They've even got aspirations to maybe capture a ship or two and hire their own crews and kind of set up a little pirate criminal enterprise. I've made it clear that this is not going to be with any kind of nastiness involved. It's simply going to be stop the ship, grab the loot, and go. They agreed to that. My games stay very PG. I don't get into any kind of nastiness. That's not role playing to me. If I want that kind of nonsense, I'll watch the news. So I keep my games very PG, even though we're all adults. And my guys know it. Of course, we swear at the table and things like that. But as far as the actual themes of the games, we don't allow any significant anything like that. So they've decided, yeah, we're going to be pirates. We're going to threaten the ship. We're going to let them come in on us thinking we're a helpless merchant, or let us come in on them thinking we're helpless merchants. The pop-up turrets go up. They do have military-grade sensors on this ship. The patron was an ex-military naval, actually an admiral, who repatriated outside the Imperium because he's very unhappy with his retirement. So he'll turn a blind eye toward this, and the ship is actually set up perfectly for piracy. I honestly hadn't really thought about piracy when I designed the ship and explained it to them. So this is a case where I'm just going to have to react. So now I'm reading up on Imperial laws for piracy, how to be a pirate. Basically, they're posing as a Q ship, which is a ship that appears to be a helpless merchant until the last moment, and then surprise, it turns out they're more heavily armed than the people that are attacking them. Or they're a merchant looking to go in company with another merchant, surprise, the guns come up, and they have the merchant helpless. So it's interesting, and it's taken my research completely different direction than I thought it would. That's good, actually, because I'm reading stuff I wouldn't have read in conjunction with this campaign of older Traveler stuff. I'm even reading some stuff on actual pirates. I'm watching some YouTube videos on actual pirates, in the real world, our real world. And I want to give a nice flavor to this. So, as I said, there were two ways I could see to react to their desire to do this. One is to say, no, let's stay with the campaign I designed. Look at all the hours of work I've put in. Or the other is to say, yeah, let's go for it. I'll put in more work. I always prefer to go with the campaign where the players take it. This is true in any campaign I run, D&D, Traveler, Gamma World. Any direction they choose to go, I modify and adapt. I just ask them sometimes, okay, this is halfway through the game night. We still have an hour and a half to play. I hadn't anticipated this, so I'm going to be winging the rest of this game, and now I'm going to need a little more time to prep the next one. They're always very patient with that. They're fine with it. They're not doing any work. I am. But I think they get a kick out of when they throw me completely. And I did not see this coming, and I should have. I'm an experienced game master. I should have seen what I was handing them, and I should have seen the direction that the campaign was going. But for whatever reason, I didn't. I had blinders on, and I thought I'd be running this little scout ship zipping around the Spinward Marches. And I'm not. They're already talking about basing out of Collis and striking out in different directions along the main right there and deciding what exactly they're going to do. So I haven't actually discussed the pirate aspect per se with my players. So far in game, they've decided that they are going to crew this ship, and some of the things they've said about the armament, the sensor suites, things like that, they're definitely going to pirate this. So, guys, if you're watching, I know, and I'm getting ready for it. Next time we play the campaign, I'm ready for you guys to be pirates, and I'll have something for us all to do. So that's just an example in my real world going on right now. I've GM'd games for over 42 years. I've GM'd Traveller for over 40 years. And here I am completely blindsided by my players where they're taking my campaign in a completely different direction. And I'm actually kind of excited. It gives me an opportunity to look at some other stuff. I'm actually looking at Pirates of Drinax and some themes there, just to get good thematic elements of what I'm doing with the various encounters they're going to have, and then how they're going to fence stolen goods and things like that. So it's a whole underworld of Traveller I haven't explored, probably since the mid to late 80s when I ran my Traveller pirate campaign. They've had a little bit of dealings under the table here and there, but never full-blown pirates other than that pirate campaign I ran. I think I ran that about 85 or 86. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you in the loop on it. I won't make videos dedicated to the progress of the game, but I'll mention it here on the channel, how things go. We're not actually playing Traveller again for about 2 to 3 weeks because of schedules and things like that. So it's going to be a little while, but the good news is I have some time to prep for this. So there you go. What to do when they throw you on your ear? My answer is, fine, you've taken my campaign in a different direction. It looks like I've got a lot of work to do. I have to read up on stuff that you guys now want to do that I hadn't prepared, and the burden falls on me. I feel as a game master, that's really my responsibility. I should have anticipated this, and I didn't. So bad on me, good on the players, and let's all have some fun. So that's all I've got to say today about this. On page 121, please remember the subscriptions. I'm always looking for subscribers. As of making this video, I've got about 1,550 subscribers, so thank you very much for everybody who has subscribed. Let's continue to grow the channel. Also, I've got a Patreon going, and I'm trying to get some money together for improving my electronics and maybe get a backdrop for the Traveller videos and maybe some of the other videos I do. So if you can help out on the Patreon, that'd be great. But that's all I've got to say today for page 121. Thanks for listening. Good luck and happy traveling.